guys? We are here with the mayor of Hollywood, the city of Hollywood. You guys know that Lime Design is based in the city of Hollywood in South Florida. We're here with Josh Levy. Really honored to have you spend some time with us today. Thank you so much for carving that out of your busy day.
Happy to be here at the studio, Rodrigo.
Cool. Well, good stuff, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I guess we could just, I like to keep it kind of casual, man, so we can kind of just, I have some questions prepared and we'll kind of just talk.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll just kind of see where the conversation takes us.
You got it.
Cool. I want lower taxes. No, it's like, I'm messing, dude.
But look, you bring we joke about it, but
Yeah.
In the end, what you're really talking about is, the cost of doing business, and to the extent that government has, a role to play to, and I'm just not just BSing here.
Yeah.
I appreciate the idea of lower taxes, and obviously it's all a matter of keeping costs down, right? You're in business here, and that's just one cost, just from
Yep. So listen, I've been in Hollywood for the last about 10 years, whether it was this business or the one I used to work with when I just got out of school, and I've seen Hollywood just transform, man. And I know that has a large, you played a large impact on that. And we spoke not too long ago, and you were telling me that a mayor can run for 12 years consecutive, right? And that this is you're 8 years in now, and I just want to talk a little bit about that, man. And I have seen such a significant change in the city. I'm so proud, and that's why I actually have your signs in my yard, man, because I've seen I've just seen the city grow, and So what do you think that's from, man? I mean,
I appreciate that. Well, look, when I came in as mayor in 2016, I had someone who grew up here in Hollywood. I have hopes and dreams for my city, and you see, an older city like Hollywood had a lot of stagnation, a lot of inability to refresh a lot of the older commercial areas of the city. State Road 7, Federal Highway, Dixie Highway, downtown wasn't blossoming like it ought to, and so you run for office, believing, knowing, and wanting for your city to do better. And so that's the motivation. Then you get elected, and then you sort of, I think, sometimes have to face what has been limiting the city for all these years. And in Hollywood's case, it was, not having enough dollars to push and to fix and to do even the city's obligation, never mind promoting business and wanting to attract private investment. But even on the public investment side, the city didn't have enough to work with. And so it had what's called deferred maintenance, and places would deteriorate. And I didn't want to, obviously have that. And so a couple of good things happened, when I came in as mayor. The economy took off, and that created opportunity as people were doing more. Property values rose a lot. Today we're up as a city 75% versus where we were in 2016. And that means 75% of property value appreciation, combination of existing property value increasing, your own house, your own commercial property increasing in value. The city enjoying that because we're a taxing authority. Thank God for the homestead exemption that limits the values that can be taxed with our homes, because the cost of living aspect, the flip side, is really huge and important, and has become pretty crisis-like for a lot of people these days. Now fast forward 8 years, but point is that we had an economy that became strong, but at the same time we also did things as a city government, leading the opportunity to make things happen, whether that was doing deals with the county to bring in dollars for affordable housing, or going after the voters a couple years after I was elected and saying, if we're going to do these great things for the city, we can't get it with what we're getting on an annual basis in maintaining the city, but let's get it if we all agree. Let's vote. Let's decide if we're going to vote for this general obligation bond, basically collectively as a city borrow money, and do things for our neighborhoods, do things for public safety, do things for the environment, for our parks. And really, take the city to the next level. And the voters approved that in 2018. Okay. And now we're in construction and with all these improvements underway. And you can see it all around, both on the private side, what we've been able to stimulate, and thanks also to the economy. And I spent a lot of time promoting on the private attraction, but at the same time on the public side. So really what you're seeing and why you're impressed, Rodrigo, is because it's a combination of the private and the public that's now out of the ground, and people are saying wow, look, we're planting trees, we're fixing sidewalks, we're doing roads, but we're also doing parks, new businesses coming in, new residentials coming in, and it's all happening at once. And so sometimes that's scary for some people, and they're afraid of change, but hopefully, certainly it's positive change. It's the future.
Yeah. So what do you think out of everything in the last 8 years are you most proud of, and the accomplishments that
Yeah.
you brought to light.
So look, it's hard to isolate just one.
I know,
I'm not
if you had
saying
to pick
because
one.
we've done so much, whether
Yeah.
it's on the environmental side, doing so much more to protect the city and prepare it for future climate conditions. Affordable housing was huge. One of the big things that I'm really proud of is, and this is very meaningful. And we can talk about the train coming soon and downtown and all that. But the city has what's called a CRA, and that's basically a separate taxing district for the beach. And it was good because it allowed the beach to have a lot of dollars from Broward County and from the city of Hollywood to refresh itself, because the beach wasn't always the beautiful place that we all love now, going back to the 1990s. But long story short, those tax dollars, amount with the beach's improvement in property value, ended up creating a lot more dollars. Maybe more dollars than the beach even needed, at the expense of what the needs are for the city elsewhere. And so before I came in, the city commission was already trying to work a deal with Broward County to, have Broward County reduce the dollars of its own that are going into the beach, and allow the city to invest it elsewhere. The agreement was totally stuck when I came in, and it wasn't going anywhere. It was at a stalemate. And I said, hey, let me take this over, personally. And I reworked the deal to where now, through the county's contribution, about 25% of those CRA dollars are now going specifically to the housing needs of Hollywood elsewhere in the lower to moderate neighborhoods of the city, throughout the city.
Yeah.
And that means about $3 to $4 million a year just from the county alone are coming in to help people with affordability and repairs to the existing housing stock. We have a lot of older neighborhoods in the city. My dream was always to refresh the neighborhoods. That was one of the main motivations of mine to even wanting to be mayor, is, hey, we got to invest in these neighborhoods. And now we have millions of dollars where homeowners can preserve the quality and the livability of their homes, where otherwise maybe they couldn't afford to. That instead of those dollars being restricted to beach redevelopment, now they're able to be used by people to fix their homes. On the city side, that's important to us. We get to preserve the quality of the housing stock. If the housing stock deteriorates, the city deteriorates. So even though it's a real great benefit to the person who lives at the home to get $40,000 to do a new roof and impact windows and a driveway, but we now have a house that's always going to be there with a better roof, a better driveway, and impact windows, so that will help keep the quality up in the neighborhood. And so I'm really proud that we're able to help hundreds and hundreds of people with these dollars, and really uplift our neighborhoods, our LMI neighborhoods, with dollars that otherwise would have been restricted to the beach. So and getting that done really on a personal level and leading that ship was, if you want to ask for good accomplishments, that's one of them.
Nice.
And I can also talk about the COVID period and what I did then. Not necessarily, if you'd like me to, not necessarily, with all the restrictions that we had to suffer as everything else and all that good stuff. But when it came to costs, operating costs, COVID hits, the city suddenly sees a reduction of activity. Revenues would be reduced, impacts on the workforce. But mind you, the county was receiving from the federal government something like $300 million. And we would have these, phone calls with mayors every week, with the county, and really more talking about the medical aspect of how do we protect people. But I told the mayor's group, hey, we're all talking about, all these restrictions, but what about the CARES Act, which the federal government had passed, and realizing that in Broward County, 98% of the population is within cities. There's 31 municipalities in Broward County, and the county was getting $300 million. Meantime, the cities are the ones with boots on the ground, with our police, with our fire, with just helping people get through this crisis. And so they appointed me to be the task force lead for the Broward League of Cities, to work together and put together a team of other elected officials throughout the county, and lobby the county commission to get a piece of those $300 million. And we were able to get through many months of work, while everybody was, home alone. We were having these meetings, and in the end, we got $100 million allocated to the cities from Broward County, and that doesn't happen very easily, where the county just coughs up, $100 million. Never happened before. But we successfully communicated why the cities need these dollars. And for Hollywood, just as an example, that meant out of that $100 million, $8 million came to the city of Hollywood. What that meant for the expenses that we actually, had to undertake with handling the pandemic. And what that really means is that that's $8 million that we were able to get, that we didn't otherwise have to use from the budget, or otherwise we're able to supplement the budget, which means we talked in the beginning laughed about taxes. You know, when you're able to get these windfalls in to the city, that means you can keep your tax rate low and not have to cut services or raise taxes. I'm proud of being able to give the opportunity to lead that, you know, for all of Broward County, because all the residents of Broward, you know, were benefited from their cities being able to be more financially whole, you know, through the contribution of the county. So, sorry if I'm talking your ear off.
No, man, that's
too long answers.
Hey, that's what we're here. We're here to have a conversation. We're here to talk about, you know, your thoughts on this stuff, man. Not everything is going to be
dry government stuff, right?
But I mean, the reality is, not everything can be answered with a 1 or 2 sentences. You got to get in deep. You got to kind of set the context, right? So
especially with me, I tend to go on and on.
So you're coming up for a re-election again here in, what, 3-4 months or something like that?
6 months, November. Although voting does start by mail in like October, so it's less than 6,
Got it, awesome. And how do you feel about the competition?
Look, I really don't focus on the competition because, well, none of my opponents have the experience that I do and the track record as an elected official.
Of course.
I mean, that's hopefully plain for people to see. But putting them aside, everybody's got their intentions and desire to be elected. But I've really, I think, shown the city that I'm someone they can rely on to handle what we need as a city, to really understand what the community's needs are, to fix what needs to be fixed. To understand where the improvements at City Hall need to happen to have better, for example, building permit systems, to understand the issue with affordable housing. Public safety is a top priority of mine, and that's why the police, Fraternal Order of Police, are endorsing my campaign. So are the firefighters, and so are our municipal employees. Everybody knows I work hard. So if I'm able to convey that to the voters and show them what I've done, and I think they hopefully see it, then they'll elect me for a final term. I'm willing to give another 4 years to the city I love, and so it's up to the residents of Hollywood, right?
So let's give a sneak peek, man, of when, not if, but when you get elected for your next for the next 4. What are you trying to get done in those years, man?
Well, we have some really exciting opportunity here. I mean, one of the things is transportation and mobility, and people, of course, don't love the traffic that is in South Florida. So one of the great things that I've been able to queue up in government, things take many years. And so a lot of what I've been working on already will be finalized and coming out of the ground and out there for people to see in that final term. So I'm really excited that we've put into motion and successfully we're designated for a train station here in downtown Hollywood, steps away from where we are.
How long?
The county is projecting the end of 2027, 2028 to have the train already up and running, the station built, and the system going.
Nice.
We've been, successfully have been able to have Hollywood designated with Broward County, with the Federal Transit Authority and Administration, with the state DOT. It took some work to get Hollywood designated versus other cities. Every city, as you can imagine, wants a train station because it's a game changer. It'll connect people who live, for example, in Hollywood and in downtown Hollywood, because they can walk there, with all the workplaces, all the education facilities, all the cultural destinations up and down our entire coast, from Miami all the way to Palm Beach when all is said and done. So it's really important because it also is a way to get people out of their car and out of sitting in traffic.
I hear you, man.
People love the Bright Line, right?
I mean, I've been on it a couple times. I don't know how many people use it on it every day.
It's blowing up now. Yeah, cool. Specifically because of the Orlando leg, I think, mostly. And so we won't be Bright Line. We will be a tri-rail type system that'll be for everyday people, that won't cost what the Bright Line costs. And it'll connect us, every 5 or 10 miles or so with another station down. And it'll really, I think, be a lot more impactful than just that express train. But bringing the train is big. I'm really excited about continuing all the affordable housing programs that we have, and seeing a lot of the affordable workforce and different projects that we have already planned, and more that will come because that's such a great need. We have a new police headquarters coming in. We're going to have a lot more neighborhood improvements coming in. So, it's all of that combined that result in a better quality of life for people. Also I'm excited about like the efficiencies that we'll finally have at City Hall. Like I keep talking about the building permit system, which is everything that we dream of for Hollywood and what our residents dream of to fix their house or invest in their business. A lot of it requires a building permit, and so we better have a building permit system that runs smooth and is able to welcome and push and facilitate that investment, because even the things that the city builds, like a new police headquarters, requires a building permit. So it better be the best. So we have a whole new software coming in this year.
What is it called?
It's called Acela. It's the same as used in other cities, but it'll basically streamline the whole process from someone submitting their building permit online without having to come into City Hall.
Is this a different one that was tried before? Because there was
complete-
one that was older.
Yep.
And then I know they were transitioning to something. I mean, is that the one that they transitioned to?
No, this is all
So
brand
this
new.
is another one.
Yeah, we were in a
first,
beta
third one.
project with Oracle.
Okay,
and
yeah, right.
It didn't work out.
Okay.
So we pivoted and said, let's just put this aside. Let's go to the program that we know others are using that successfully. But we're not only doing software, we're also hiring a lot more people to be able to do plan review and speed up the reviews.
Nice.
And we have a whole new workspace for all of those departments that are related to the building permit side of things.
Nice.
Above the second floor library at City Hall Circle, it's 30,000 square feet.
Nice.
But not just for building, it's also for planning and for mobility and engineering and community development that does a lot of the housing programs.
Nice.
We're really putting our best foot forward to modernize the way City Hall works, so that it's not the same bureaucratic, sort of obstacle as government oftentimes could be. And that's maybe, especially me coming from the business side of the world before being mayor.
Right.
You want it to run more efficiently.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I know that you guys you're talking a little bit about like planting more trees, and Lime Design is green, so we love those. we love to see these initiatives. Tell us a little bit more about that, man.
Yeah, so trees make the world better, right? Environmentally, they generate oxygen. They make you feel better when you're around them. They create shade, cool down an area, etc. The trees are the best, right? So here, even in a built-out city like Hollywood, we have the cool factor of being a Tree City USA for like 40 years now, and we want to maintain and hold that mantle up proudly. So, but the city never had a tree inventory. And so we have our first ever tree inventory for the city of Hollywood. We've identified.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so 15,000 locations across the city in our right-of-ways, in like the medians and the different places that the city owns as public space. 15,000 identified locations of where trees are already, but even more importantly, where future planting locations ought to be, so that as we're planting more trees, we already have a graph, a layout of exactly where our planting locations are, so we can do it quickly and not delay on where the trees should be. So we're planting thousands of trees now.
Nice.
Cool thing is that when we fix a road, and we sometimes when we have to unfortunately remove a tree, there are mitigation requirements that require the city to plant additional trees. And so all the roadway work that you're seeing now has a lot more trees coming in. But also we've redone all the medians with beautiful new streetscapes, and that makes the city feel better. But for the residents who live here, those who drive by, you get a better impression of Hollywood. So
downtown Hollywood looks great, man. I mean, all that stuff.
The streetscape downtown is a whole other world. But brand new date palms there, the vintage lighting, the new cafe space.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a city, from east to west, a city that people enjoy being in and have amenities for you living. And I'll say that when you buy a house in a city or an apartment or move in here, it's not just you're not just really buying the 1,500 square feet that you're buying or you're renting.
Yeah.
You're actually buying into the community around you, and that includes the parks, and it includes the beach in Hollywood, and includes the amenities downtown, the connectivity that our roadway system has. So I want all that to be the best, so that people feel like they have a good value. That our residents are proud and want to stay here, want their kids to move back to Hollywood, stay in Hollywood, et cetera, et cetera. It's a placemaking is an exciting thing. So all of that combines to a great place to live and do business, right? You're Lime Design.
I love it. And I love doing business here in Hollywood, Florida, man. It's really good, man. It's easy for the clients to get to. It's just a cool city. It's an up and coming city, and you can feel the energy around. When you look around and you see all these new buildings coming up. Actually, that leads into tell us a little bit about the buildings that are popping up that we see around Young Circle. There's another big building that's going up right now, right? What's that one?
So look, that one's called it's the Hollywood Bread building, the old Hollywood Bread. I think they're going to call it Hollywood Bread as a sort of keeping that. But what you're really referring to is the downtown master plan, and that was put in like 20 years ago before I became mayor. The community had a visioning session on how we would want downtown to be, and it identified, like this, you mentioned Young Circle being surrounded by curvilinear buildings all around it. And while the plan was put into place, a plan is just a plan on paper until someone starts building or creating a prototype, as here at Lime Design. So fortunate to have had the Cirque building actually come into play before we kind of celebrated the grand opening of that when I came in as mayor. But was able to attract other of the properties to be sold and to buy into our vision for them to come in, bring the residential, and in that master plan, understanding that there's this critical mass for downtowns that you have to have enough people living there or doing business there for it to be like sustain itself as an active place that could be successful for the restaurants and for the shops that would be in a downtown. So we have a lot of new apartments coming into town, into the downtown area, and that's by design, by Lime design, right? It's by design because a city always grows, but we also want to plan where it grows. We want to protect residential single-family neighborhoods, for example, from intrusion of commercial and large-scale development. But we also need those areas where a city ought to grow, and through a planned direction, and that is downtown Hollywood and what we call the Regional Activity Center, all within walking to a future train station, bike ride away from the beach, Dixie Highway, US 1 up and down, I-95 close by. Downtown is an amazing place to live. And I'm really excited for all these buildings because they're leasing up really quick. People want to move here. And we really do have a special little downtown in the big metropolitan area that is South Florida. We're never going to be, and we don't want to be, Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
We're not going to be downtown Miami. But we have our special flavor here that is Hollywood, why people love Hollywood. In a way that is a beautiful area that at the heart of it has Young Circle and the beautiful arts park, all the music and the culture and the arts that we have growing here. It's a great place to live, and it's that little jewel that we know we have.
Kind of like for my own selfish thing, but I live in Hollywood, so I do appreciate driving or like taking my bike to work every day or as often as I can. And there's a park right next to us. It used to be a golf park where I live that was taken over. I know the city is
old
doing
Sunset
something.
property, yeah.
What's going on there, man?
So I'm excited. That's another thing. When I came into office, there was an idea to develop that years ago. The neighborhood really wanted it as a public space or not to be developed. It was a golf course forever, and everybody looked at it as a green space. It was a green space. So I came in and said we need to buy it. And that was part of the bond. And we bought that property. We own it now. It was the biggest green space purchase in the city's history, 45 acres. And the beautiful part is, earlier this year, we approved a beautiful park concept for it. And we're actually now in application with the state of Florida for matching funds to put in $15 million into it and develop this beautiful park. With beautiful bikeways and nature paths, a little community center, playgrounds for the kids, play areas, lots of trees, and just have a beautiful space for the city. And it also has some stormwater retention aspects to the property as well. So it was very important that I think for the city's next 100 years, we're celebrating our centennial next year. Hollywood will be turning 100. To have this extra green space, this new public space, that'll be a public asset for everybody for years to come.
I love it, man. I can't wait. When do you think? When do you think I'll be
riding
swimming
your bike
in
there?
the fountains or whatever it is over there?
So look, everything takes time, right? But honestly, it depends on this grant.
Okay.
If we're successful in getting this $7.5 million from the state of Florida, that grant particularly has a quick turnaround timetable. So we'll get to moving dirt probably in a year or so if we or less if we get the grant. But it all depends on funding. But it's a long-term play. It's a long-term play for the future of the city. And so, we're really making these investments that are going to be not just for us, but for the next generations to come. And so, it's a gift that we're giving forward.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yep.
Any final words for the people of Hollywood, man? And kind of just.
Yeah, look, I just want to say can I say I love what Lime Design is doing?
Yeah, you could say that. Of course you could say that.
It
starts with a Google review, man.
Listen, I have to figure out what to invent myself. Everybody, if you wake up sometimes in the morning or whenever you think of a product idea, I love, it's so unique what you guys do, really. Being able to take someone's idea and actually develop the product, the packaging, everything, and make it, a marketable item and let someone's imagination become into something that would be a business for them is really amazing. And so honestly, seeing people like you, and I'm not just blowing smoke, seeing people like you and your team that you have here what you're doing at Lime Design is actually empowering and energizes me as a mayor. That, man, I need to do a good job because places like Lime Design are trying to do good things, and I need to live up to your expectations of what you need in your city to support your business, and to help promote and make you successful. And so that's a whole other aspect of, in the end, we just talked a lot about buildings and a lot about roads and parks and things, but in the end, it is about the people. It's about families. It's about having enough business here so that people can graduate high school, get into a trade, go to college, come back, have work to have here, be able to basically make a living and live while living here, and earn a living. And so, in the end, it's the people's success, and in the end, it's the success of our families that is the result of, is the city doing the best that it could be. If it's nurturing through schools and through its city and through its business promotion, a economically successful opportunity for people, then that's the win. And so I hope that we can do that as a city, and that's why I go to work every day, as Mr. Mayor, and try to make it happen.
Josh, what do you think about our mural, man?
Look, your mural is a big part of our downtown Hollywood mural project. I love what you did out here with Innovate, right? Is what it says out there, with Tesla and the other big people of our times and before that invented things. And so it helps to inspire. Your mural helps to inspire people and helps us dream big and beyond. And art does that, but your art is also one that leads to innovation and each one of us probably can innovate if we allow our mind to go and take that step. And you guys are doing it through here at Lime Design, both on the mural and inside over here, right?
Absolutely.
Cool deal.
Thank you, man. And that was a large part to the CRA, right? They donated, I think it was around $10,000 towards that project, which is, I probably wouldn't have done it if I didn't have that initiative.
Well, when we see empty walls, we see some people we are able to see a blank canvas for art, and thank you for being a part of that, because without property owners being willing to say, okay, let's do something on my wall, it doesn't happen. So everybody contributes. We're all in it. In our success is all needs all of us to do something about it and to be a part of it. And I know, Rodrigo, you're part of it, and everybody out there, thank you for being part of it. And we're all, lifting, rising our tide, lifting all our boats up together. And so hope everybody is, if you need anything, see me at City Hall, call me at City Hall, Facebook, Instagram message, you name it, I'm there and happy to help.
Sounds good. And we'll put some information in the bottom of our, of the post that we're doing. And again, thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate coming in to help us out here and, just help us grow this beautiful city, man. And it really is a jewel, man. So thank you for taking care of it and helping grow it, man.
We're on the job.
Cool.
All right, cool deal. Thanks, everybody.
All right.